side. There's a question about, is it ethical for an attorney to use a client's name in an advertising with permission from the client? I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the context of blogging, but I would say that it is technically, in most cases, going to be ethical, but it's also typically not a good idea to use a client's actual name for a number of reasons. But we'll talk about that when we talk about blogging. Now, Florida, for those unfortunate enough to practice in Florida, Florida has probably the nation's most repressive series of rules around attorney advertising. Incredibly detailed. An advertising review commission that may be made up of your competitors, where you need to pass all of your ads through for approval, which may get changed arbitrarily on you after years and years of approval, as happened to one statewide law firm. It's really a strange program there, and what's interesting is that a couple of years back, the state bar tried to loosen the rules up a bit in recognition of how things work online, and so they proposed a series of new rules that would have made it easier for attorney websites to comply with the state rules. And when they took it to the Supreme Court for approval, what's interesting is the Supreme Court said no. They slapped the bar down and imposed their own set of restrictions, which we call the Florida Website Developers Full Employment Act, because it basically required that if you wanted to talk about anything about your firm, any of your results within your website, you would have to set up a series of disclaimers that potential users would have to accept and click through before they could access any of that content. Just really oppressive set of rules. The 8 biggest firms in Florida have filed a brief with the court imploring them to rethink those rules, which the state is apparently in the midst of doing, but there's no telling whether they will actually do so or come up with even crazier rules. It's really unpredictable in the state of Florida. Florida also has, for those, and if anyone does practice down there and is interested in this, shoot me an email and I can send you a link to this. Florida actually has tried to give its lawyers, I mean, the bar, to its credit, even though they have these ridiculously detailed advertising rules, they've tried to provide as much specific guidance as possible, and they actually have a set of guidelines for Florida attorneys on the use of social media that gets into fairly specific detail about things like friend requests, and answering questions online and client reviews online. So again, shoot me an email to josh@avo.com if you're interested in those Florida social media guidelines. Okay, the rest of the states, I mean, it's really, you have most states are going to follow